Hi everyone and welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks, the Mahoning and Shenango Valley's most in-depth weather video. It's time for our daily deep dive into the weather. The weather actually pretty simple over the next few days, but we'll, as always, find some interesting things to talk about. Of note today, it was a hot day, but not as hot as 1936. Our hottest temperature on record here in Youngstown for any day of the calendar year occurred on July 10th. Back in 1936, 103 degrees. We've hit 102 a couple of times back in the 1930s, but going back to when records began here, we've only hit 103 once, and that was back on this date in 1936. Today was a hot one, though. We hit 88. It overachieved a little today. I bumped up our forecast last night at 11 to 85. I didn't bump it up high enough. It kept on going up to 88 at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Earlier on today, we were mostly rain-free across the area, but it was a pretty soupy day otherwise across the region, with dew points staying elevated throughout the day. And when you factor in temperatures in the upper 80s with dew points in the mid-60s, yeah, those heat index values were trying to climb above 90 earlier on. Now, you'll notice over the last couple of hours, the downward trend has begun. And that process will continue as we go into the night tonight. Drier air is starting to make inroads. You can see that on our regional map here. Notice the dew point at 7:15 was 50 in Detroit. 65 here locally. Well, this air is coming our way. And especially, I think, after sunset this evening, you're really going to notice, hey, ooh, it's feeling nicer outside. And temperatures overnight tonight will end up in the upper 50s in most spots. All right, look across the country this evening, showing severe thunderstorm watch up in parts of Montana. Scattering of showers and storms, kind of a typical summer weather map, really, across the whole country this evening. The beginning of the monsoon season. Monsoon's one of those weather terms that is misused a lot. The monsoon is actually, the definition of that is a reversal of the wind direction, the prevailing wind direction in certain parts of the world. Monsoon does not mean heavy rain. It doesn't mean anything to do with the intensity of the precipitation. It's the wind shift. And, well, the wind shift at this time of the year in this part of the world does often result in showers and thunderstorms scattered about parts of the Southwest during the afternoon. All right, here is Chris, which got its act together today. You can see the distinct eye. So this became a Category 1 hurricane after being a tropical storm all day yesterday. It also started to move today. This was nearly stationary right around here yesterday. Now it's moving at a pretty good jog off to the northeast at 10 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds of 85, gusts to 105. This is not a threat to land. And as it continues to move away from the east coast, the rough surf, rip current threat will diminish along the beaches from Virginia Beach down through Myrtle Beach and down into Hilton Head as well. Pretty minor threat down there overall as far as the rough surf and rip currents. This was not a huge deal down there, but nonetheless, any increased wave action will certainly dissipate as Chris moves away. May even intensify to a Cat 2 before starting to weaken in the colder waters of the northern Atlantic later on this week. All right, back here at home, smooth sailing next few days. Our wind direction tomorrow, out of the north, that's a much drier wind direction. Tomorrow is going to be a lot like Sunday was, where it'll be seasonable. The air will be dry. We're looking for wall-to-wall sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful day, just like Sunday was. I think Thursday will be kind of like tomorrow, and then Friday will be kind of like yesterday was. Not that humid yet, but starting to turn pretty hot. We're talking probably upper 80s on Friday, kind of like we had yesterday. Won't be as humid as today was. So I think Friday's going to be a lot like yesterday was. And then we'll see some pretty steamy weather as we go into the upcoming weekend. Of course, the Trumbull County Fair is ongoing. I was happy to be asked to MC the opening ceremony today at the brand new stage up there at the fair in Bezetta, and had a good time. Met some fine folks up there. Hope you can enjoy the Trumbull County Fair if you didn't today over the next few days. Again, the weather looking pretty good. Now, if you have plans to hit the fair or do anything else outdoors this weekend, here's a look at the latest GFS model. A weak front trying to slide in Saturday. You know, this doesn't look like much to me. Is there a 10 to 20% chance of a shower or a storm Saturday afternoon? Yeah, probably. But there's not much moisture in the atmosphere to squeeze out. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. There's plenty of moisture in the atmosphere. It's just there's not much of a trigger to squeeze it out. It's going to be humid Saturday, but we're going to have a hard time getting those tall updrafts and showers and storms. Same idea really for Sunday. Maybe a somewhat higher chance of a stray shower or storm Sunday, but I think the vast majority of the weekend's rain-free and just hot and humid. Heat index values in the lower 90s, and then probably the best chance for wet weather will come our way on Monday with the approach of a cold front. Now, this does not look like that strong of a front, at least initially. but it will spark some showers and storms. And behind that, we'll probably get into a pretty nice midsummer pattern. Notice the cool anomalies coming out of the Rockies and Plain states and making their way east in the longer range. This is the kind of the 10 to 15 day outlook. Now, at this time of the year, this doesn't mean you're going to be shivering, but this could translate into a lot of days with highs in the 70s as opposed to the 80s and 90s. So, you know, if you're not a fan of high heat and humidity, this looks like a pretty nice pattern. This is coming up again in kind of the medium range, kind of about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days from now. I like the looks of that, and there's support among other modeling for this overall idea of a pretty comfortable pattern by July standards coming up in the medium range. That's it for the Tuesday night weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks as always for checking out this geeky video. I'll see you back here on Wednesday evening.